Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Company is coming, and they are coming. I have company coming. So they're coming in about a week or so, and I'm hoping to get enough squares done, maybe this one and another one, maybe two more, before they show up, that I can put on an afternoon tea for them. So I'm really excited about this square because this one sounds really, really yummy to me. It doesn't sound like, rum and that kind of stuff. Today we are doing Oh Henry Butterscotch. Who the heck doesn't like butterscotch? Yum. Okay, let's get started, guys. Let's look at our ingredients. Very, very simple. We have 1¼ cup of graham cracker crumbs. We have 2/3 a cup of butter. We have ½ cup of milk. I don't really want to pick it up because it's filled to the brim. There it goes. I don't want to spill it. And we have 3/4 cups of brown sugar. Plus, we have graham wafers. Okay, so this again is a little graham wafer sandwich bar. So we're going to layer our pan with the graham wafers, put our middle in, put graham wafers on top again, and then we're going to ice it. So this is just the middle part. So again, guys, I have out my ever popular, this has become known as my company's coming square pan because it's what I use. All the recipes in this book seem to have a 9x9 pan. So there we are. So, and if you're not new, you'll know that this is a standard. I always slightly grease it, just in order to put the parchment paper in it. And why are we putting the parchment paper in the pan? For all you old timers, you know why we're putting the parchment paper in the pan. We're putting it in the pan, not for the squares, but so that when we're done, we can just lift these squares right out of the pan for easy cutting. Because nothing is harder than trying to cut squares out of a pan. You want to put them on a nice flat board so you can easily cut them with your knife. Usually when you got them in a pan, the first few squares you try to get out of there are going to be a mess. So, yeah, this stops it. It's easy, 10 times easier. I recommend it highly. Okay, now that we have our pan lined, what we're going to do is we're going to put the first layer of graham crackers in there. I have some here. Okay, we're going to line the bottom, our base layer, with our graham crackers. We're just going to put in here. And I'm going to count them this time. This is the second recipe we've done where we've had like a graham cracker sandwich type of square. Graham crackers on the bottom, graham crackers on the top. So it takes 9, 10, 11, 12 crackers on top and bottom. So for future reference, when I'm doing this, I will need 24 crackers when I do this type of thing here. Oop. Cracking our cracker there. And one little piece in the corner. All right, so we have our base layer done. Let's get on to the middle. So again, this is a no-bake square again, but we do have to use the stovetop because we have to boil some of the ingredients. So we're going to start with the 3/4 cup of butter. We're going to put that in there. And to that, we are going to add our 2/3 cup of brown sugar. Remember, when you're measuring brown sugar, always pack it unless it says otherwise to get a true measurement. And we're going to put our milk in here. It also is telling us to put our vanilla in here, 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I found that a little bit strange because generally you never cook vanilla, because when you cook vanilla, you empty bottle, you end up cooking out the flavor. But I'm following the instructions, so that's what I'm doing. So it says to put in a large saucepan, bring to a boil, and simmer for 5 minutes. let's take this over to the stove. Okay, we've brought this over to the stove. We've turned on the stove to a medium heat, and we want to bring this to a boil. Remember, guys, we're not really in a rush. Let's not speed boil this. And once it gets to a boil, then we're going to let it boil for 5 minutes. It doesn't tell us in the recipe, but because I've made a lot of candy and stuff like that, I know this. What they want to happen, this is what's happening with the boiling process here, is we are going to thicken that sugar into like a toffee. The more you boil sugar, the thicker it gets and the harder it gets, right? So that's why we have to boil it for 5 minutes, because they want this to harden and firm up the sugars. So it's probably very important that this boils for 5 minutes. If you don't boil it for 5 minutes, that sugar is not going to thicken up. Okay, guys, so here it is. It's boiling up. Now we're going to watch the clock here, and we're going to give this 5 minutes, 5 whole minutes. This whole process with the sugars and everything like that, it is a science. If you don't do it properly, it doesn't work. So you have to pay attention to the science, guys. 5 minutes in. You see how thick that's gotten? We have it all here. It's boiled, and now we have to add in our graham cracker crumbs. So that's going to give it more substance too. All right. So here we are. And now we're just going to pour this. Pour it over our... And as this cools, it's going to get hard. There we are. Okay. So we got a nice butterscotch layer. I don't know who's out there that needs to hear this, but butterscotch is basically brown sugar, kind of cooked, or white sugar burnt. Okay, so now we're going to add the top layer. Oh, these are going to be yummy. I can just feel it. All right, and now I'm just going to cut up these ends so they sit in there nice. Okay. All right, let's pop these into the fridge and let's cool them down. And while they're cooling, we're going to make our icing. All right, guys, while our squares are in the fridge cooling down, now we got to get our icing ready. Prepare our icing. It's very simple. It's a very basic buttercream icing yet again. It calls for 1.5 cups of icing sugar. I've got my KitchenAid mixer out here, and I'm just going to use that because even though this is small, I'd like it to get whipped up, and my hands aren't up to that task. 3 tablespoons of butter. And 1.5 teaspoons of water. That would be cold water, guys. You don't want to put hot water in this. You don't want to melt your butter. Okay, and 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla. So I've got, I always use the cap. Eyeball it up. There we go. Okay, let's turn the mixer on and There we are. Pretty instant. Not very much here, but our square base is not very big. So, and this is very thick, this icing, which is what you want on squares. You want the icing to be fairly thick. You want it to hold its shape. I'm just going to get a bowl here. Bought these at the dollar store. I don't find them firm enough. Like they're not very good. Serves me right for buying spatulas at the dollar store, I guess. You generally want a nice firm spatula so it's not going to bend and wobbly. And I was doing something else the other day and I thought the spatula would work and I was like, this spatula is garbage. Like it wouldn't mix it. I had to go get a spoon. That was on a video. I'm seeing that it's the spatula's fault. Okay. Get those squares out of the fridge and let's get them iced. Okay, we got our squares out of the fridge. They feel really, really firm. Although on the bottom it still feels slightly warm. But this does not feel warm at all. So I'm going to go ahead and ice it. And then I'm going to put it back in the fridge for a couple, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes. And then we're going to bring it out. And we're going to cut it and have a taste test, guys. So if you don't own one of these, you really should invest. They make icing so much easier. So this is really firm. It's not moving or it's not going anywhere. So that's the good news. And the icing is very firm but spreadable. Kind of like cream cheese, I'd say. So everything, as usual with Jean Parr, is coming up roses. No complaints. We'll have to see how it cuts and how it tastes before we start giving thumbs up. Beautiful. Back in the fridge she goes. All right, guys, we got our squares out of the fridge. And now is the time for the moment of truth. How does it cut? How does it taste? How does it look? So look at that. Easy peasy. That's why we do this, guys. Well, everything looks good. Maybe I'll just start by cutting it down the middle. Oh, I can hear the crunch. I can hear the crunch of the crackers. Well, it's cutting good, guys. Those are separating there, but I'm guessing that's because the cracker is separated. So we'll just go with the flow of the cracker. Let's see. Since there's a natural cut there already, we'll just go on all the way through. There we go. It does want to actually break apart where the cracker is, so but that's okay. We'll just go with where the cuts in the cracker are. And that is golden. Look at that. That's a beautiful looking square. We're just going to put them here on our platter. We'll save these end pieces. Those are the ones for eating. Those are not the ones we serve our guests. All right, there we have it. They, my only complaint is that they break apart where the graham crackers are already naturally separated. They're the fancy whip up squares that we did. They didn't do that because it was gooey, so the gooey just kind of melted all the graham crackers. But it's still workable. It's still easy. It's still doable. It still comes out into a square. And now for our very favorite time, guys, taste test. Mm. Oh, Henry, that's butterscotchy. And who the heck can say no to butterscotch? I don't think we'll have a hard time giving these squares away, guys. Nothing to complain about here. Butterscotch. Who can complain about butterscotch? You know, people get fussy about mint. People get fussy about rum. People get fussy about coconut and cherries. But who the heck gets fussy about butterscotch? And this is a really nice treat. And you are never going to find this at Foodland or Costco. Homemade, delicious. Delicious, guys. Something new and different. Make it up today. Put it in your freezer. The thing about squares is they freeze so perfectly. I cut them up, I put them in container, and then I freeze them. And that way, when I'm ready for them, I just pull them out and they're already cut, they're all ready to go. And but I mean, you do have to keep an eye on it, guys. You can't leave a square in the freezer for years. You know, like you're hitting 6 months, you know, you got to rotate it. You got to be on top of it. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. That's it for Companies Coming. And we're ready. We're ready. Come on, company. Come on over. Come on over. I got some friends coming. Come have some Oh Henry Butterscotch squares with me. They are delicious. God bless everybody and have a good day.